Today we're going to be going through, as I said, GARDiS 2.0, and give you some ideas about when this should be used, rather than using just the software that is preloaded on the GARDiS controllers. Alex is going to go through a session, show you how easy it is to use and navigate the software. What controller variants the software works with, because we have three variants of controllers at the TDSI. And then specifically, we're going to get into the new fire door release feature and the site lockdown feature that have been put into the GARDiS software. Going to get into a little bit about the licensing structure, and then a session a little bit on future table talks. So what is GARDiS 2.0? Well, it's a cloud-based or web-based piece of software. It runs as a service, so it exists as a single installation. It's a native browser or web-based software application. It has a very intuitive graphic user interface, and we've spent an awful lot of time with our installer customers across the world as we've been developing this user interface to make sure that it is as intuitive as possible. So it's easy to use straight out of the box, and it's very it's less time consuming as far as installing and maintaining the system. It's designed to be a very modular piece of software, with other services integrations being added to augment the system, and it's very scalable. So it can be used from single doors, one site, to hundreds or thousands of doors across hundreds or thousands of sites. So the main thing to keep in mind is that when you're moving from a single site and where you've got, say, the GARDiS controllers, and you're using the web-based software or the web server embedded software on the controller, when you're wanting to look at getting to more than 44 doors, for example, or adding different sites, or adding different organizations, different not different departments so much, but different companies within the group. That's when you should be moving from the GARDiS web embedded software to the native browser-based software package. The software is designed to be easy to use, as I've said, and it's compatible with all TDSI's family of controllers. So it's compatible with the new GARDiS controllers, as well as the older MG and EX series controllers. So, as I said, we're going to be looking at the new features, in particularly the fire door release and the site lockdown. And the addition of IP locks. I know some of our customers out in Australia and Singapore, for example, are using GARDiS software with the IP lock integration, and these are using the either the Acerable or Simmons Voss wireless locking systems. I said we're going to talk about the licensing structure, so that there are two versions of the GARDiS software. The Express version, which is for 20 doors, a single site and a single organization, and that software is free of charge. And then the Pro version, you have the base platform at 20 doors, a single site and a single organization, and then you can add additional door licenses, and these additional door licenses come either as you can add a 1 door, 2 doors, 5 doors, 10 doors, 20 doors, or 50 doors, and you can add as many doors as you'd like. There are additional site licenses, additional licenses for organizations. There's an IP lock service license, whether that's for Assa Abloy or for Simmons Voss Smart Intego, and then an IP lock device license. So you pay for a license to run the service, the IP lock service, and then for each individual lock, there is a cost for the IP device license. And then there's the REST API function. And Tina's going to get into more detail about how to use the REST API. But this can be used, for example, to integrate the GARDiS software platform into VMS systems or building management systems or time and attendance systems. Just as an idea on pricing, as I said, a 20-door system, it's free of charge if you just have the single site, one organization. And if, for example, you're going to 50 doors, the manufactured suggested retail price is £920 for a 50-door system. Additional site license is £365. The IP lock service license is £1,500, and the IP device license is £70. And depending who you are in the audience, if you're one of our resellers, you'll be getting a discount from those pricing levels. So these are suggested retail prices for end users that you'll be selling to. And now I would like to hand over to Alex Rumsey, our UK sales director, and he's going to walk through GARDiS, demonstrating how easy it is to get the system up and running. And then once Alex is finished, we're going to get into a session with Tina running how to use and when to use the REST API. So Alex, over to you, my friend.
Lovely, thank you so much, John. All right, guys, I'm just going to quickly turn my camera on so you can see me talking at the same time. Right, I'm going to just share my screen to you. So you should all be able to now see the main screen for GARDiS software to log into it. All right, so as John's already mentioned, this is our latest version of our GARDiS software. This is GARDiS 2 software. So this is enhancements that have been previously carried out to our software. So to log into the software, obviously we've navigated to it on a web browser. Today we're using Google Chrome, but it supports all the browser types available. We log into the software, so click to log into it. We're presented with a typical page to enter your username and password. We've already got a default username and password saved here for today. We log into it, and then based on my login, it displays what I'm permitted to see within the system. So within the GARDiS log-on screen now, you've got a couple of key areas within the software. You've got the navigation tabs down on the left-hand side. You've got an events list in the middle of the screen. And then also you've got a system overview as well on the right-hand side. So just to explain a couple of other bits that we've got as well. Firstly, you've got your languages that you're able to select within the system. Obviously today we've selected English. You can also change the contrast of the screen, so you can switch the theme. So if you want it on a darker background, you can toggle the color preference from dark to light. If you want to maximize the screen view to go to full screen, you can go to full screen, and it takes the full screen page up for you. And then also from here, you're able to collapse the menu, which then collapses the navigation bar on the left-hand side, and also logs you out of the software. So as you're logged in, it'll log you out of that screen and return you back to that home page. So events, you can click on the events and it will automatically bring events into the system. Today I've actually got a TDSI GARDiS controller, a G2 controller connected onto the system. And we'll be navigating our way through that controller and just showing the use and operation of that. So moving down the left-hand side of the navigation tabs, we've got people. So people within our TDSI terminology now are people that have credentials, that have tokens that are permitted to use and access the doors around the site. We can see we've got a relatively small system here today with just 5 people that exist within the database. Obviously, bigger sites will typically have many more people. That's not a problem. They're displayed as squares at the moment with displaying the top level information, including their photo. If you want to minimize that view so that you've got several hundred or thousands of people, you're able to reduce that view and just get a top level view of that information. So you're able to display that information much easier. So if we click on Alex Rumsey, myself, we can see it will bring up my details. So quickly walking through a couple of the key features within this, the people's part of the software. You've got a personal ID number. This is a unique ID reference within the database. You can either utilize your own numbering scheme, or if you leave it blank during the initial enrollment, it'll automatically populate it itself. What that means is that you can have 2 Alex Rumseys within your database without causing any conflicts within the system. So that's its database location. You're able to then also populate key fields of information within the system: first name, surname, job title. We've got car reg here today, and email as well. You can also have a start and end date, which then affects the use of their permissions around their site. Any changes that you're doing to the system, you can submit those changes and then it'll automatically save those changes with the system. We've also got a photo captured here as well. So you're able to capture and store photos of those people within the system against their personal information. Moving along, on the top part here, you've got tabs, which you can then navigate to specific parts of that person's information. So if we click on credentials, we can see here that we've got a card that's been allocated that's got an ID number, 219283. That's a TDSI magnetic card. You can also see here now that you've got a start and end date. So you can issue a credential to a member of staff and you can have that card starting and ending on specific dates. If you want to, if your readers on the site support PIN codes, an operator can enter a PIN code into their system here as well. So you can assign a PIN code quickly and easily within the system. Security details. So this is where you assign access levels, access permissions to go through areas, doors of the building. You can see, again, we've got a relatively flat system here today. We've got 3 access levels within the site, and we've got general access. We've now developed the software so it uses sliders, and the benefit of that is very quick and easy to see what permissions people have got. And you'll notice that theme through the whole software that we use sliders now, so that it's nice and clean and easy to identify what functionality has been assigned to people. So we've got general staff access. That's you can see that I'm a member of that. What you can also do, which is a very, very powerful feature within the software, and it certainly differentiates from previous versions of GARDiS software, is that you can assign access permissions to people, access levels, but you can also assign a start date and an end date for that particular access permission. So what that means is you can give temporary access to an area of your building, to certain doors, that comes in on a certain date and stops on a defined date afterwards. There's no need to remember to remove those access permissions from a user. You're able to select that date to say, right, I want to start it on the 12th, and then on the 19th, it will automatically stop. So on the 19th, it will stop the permissions for that card being allowed through. We've also got the tabbed option up on the top here for biometrics. So this is a new feature that we've added that supports the TDSI biometric readers, and we're able to have the capture and the enrolment of the biometric templates from the main page of the person's credentials and data screen. Once all that information has been captured, you can click submit, and then that stores that information back into it. What we've also done, so that was looking at an existing person, very similar to that. If we go to add a new person, you can see now that we've got a 5-step process to actually creating a person within the access control system, within the GARDiS software. What that means is it's a nice staged approach to actually capturing that information and entering it in a clean and tidy manner. So, for example, here we can capture just a generic name, Jack Daniels. We can create a job title. You can enter an email address. Now, it also checks to make sure that it is a valid email address. And you can also add its vehicle registration. Moving on, you can move on to the next stages of either clicking on the bubbles to move on to the next stage, or you can use the next button to click along. You can assign an ID number. So we can see here we've got a user number of 219275. That card type is set to TDSI magnetic, so it defaults to the TDSI format. However, through the drop-down menu, you can actually load lots of other different formats of TDSI format and other formats available that are supported within our controllers. Click Submit, and we can see that that card has been assigned to Jack Daniels, and it's been assigned. We can click Next. We can then make them members of the access permissions that we wanted to, so we can say that they're part of the general staff access. We do have some other features over on the right-hand side that I haven't touched on yet. You've got other features such as office control and extended access. Extended access is if you want to allow a user to have additional time to pass through a door. Select that, and it gives them double the time to allow through that door. Office control enables them to double tap onto a reader and to toggle that reader on that door to an unlocked state. Click Next. Biometrics, spoke about capturing that information. Finally, goes to a summary page just to confirm the details that you're entering Jack Daniels. His credential ID is set to that, and his general access has been assigned to him. And press Finish. It's as simple as that. That's a very, very quick and easy process. Couple of minutes talking through it, but in real world terms, it's less than 30 seconds. As long as you've got all the information, it's very, very quick and easy to create a credential, create a person within the system, and give them access that allows them through a door. A couple of other really great features that we've got within the people page of the software. You can search for information. So obviously we've got key fields within the GARDiS database that we've captured. Any of those fields can be searched on. So if I start typing A4, you can see that it's automatically jumped to Alex Rumsey. That's me, and that's part of my car number plate. So if you want to find specific people within the system, you can quickly and easily locate them through the site. Moving down the navigation tabs, we've got credentials. Credentials are obviously the keys that have been assigned to people, the cards, the IDs that have been assigned to people around a site. At the top, we've got a search facility, so we're able to search for any card ID number that you wish to search and locate for. You can enter your number here, and it will automatically locate that number if it already exists within the system. So we can see I've started typing 219, and it's identified 3 credentials within the system that start with 219. And then you can see what their statuses are within the system. If you want to add credentials, you can add, if you want to add credentials into the system before anything, before a member of staff starts, you can block and roll your IDs at this point by entering the number and then submitting them into the database. Moving down, we've got, again, as I said earlier, we've got a relatively flat system here today. We've got organisation. So we've got one organisation that's got several departments associated with it. And then we've also got sites that make up the locations of the software, of where it's stored and the installations. We can see we've got the TDSI HQ. If we click on that, we can see those areas that sit within the TDSI HQ. And we can add those areas quickly and easily with it. Moving on down, we have equipment. Equipment is the TDSI components. So the GARDiS 2 software now supports all the TDSI existing controllers, so that's the microguards, so the MG1, MG2, XL4. It also supports the expert controllers, also the GARDiS controllers, so the G1, G2 and G4 controller. It also supports, as John mentioned earlier on, the IP lock. So it also supports the Simmons Voss and the Aperio, the Acer Abloy Aperio wireless locks. And they're all programmed and configured at this point within the equipment. So they're all part of the TDSI equipment, effectively tree. So we can see we've got a GARDiS controller here connected to us. We can see its online state is that the controller is online and that the doors that sit within that controller, that G2 controller, are currently closed. As you get access permissions, access granted through those doors, as they're open and closed, you'll see that status change and update within the system. For systems that are larger than this, and you've got many hundreds of controllers with many hundreds of doors connected, what you're able to do is you're actually able to reduce that view down, and you can actually focus specifically on ACUs, for example, and reduce that view down just to review the three controllers. Similar to the people part of the software, we've got a wizard that allows you to add that equipment into the TDSI GARDiS software. So again, we've got a 4-step process of adding that. Now, what I'm going to quickly do here is, if I select on the ACU type, you're able to see a drop-down list. Now, I appreciate people connected on Teams today, you're not able to see the drop-down list, but reassured they are there. If we click on a G1 controller here, now you can see it automatically populates that we're able to enter a MAC address. Once you've entered the MAC address of the system, the name, the location if you want the additional information, and also the sites connected to, you're able to click and go forward with actually adding and configuring that controller to the system. What I'm going to do is keep moving on and look at the security features within the GARDiS software. This is where we've added a couple of new features recently within the GARDiS software. We've added the fire door function and lockdown doors as well. But if we go at access levels first, before we look at anything else, we can see we've got 3 access levels assigned. So that's where we've got doors that have been assigned to the access levels. So we can see those three access levels: access level 2, cleaners, and general staff access. We can see in the middle of the part of the screen how many doors that have been assigned to your access levels. So we can see general staff has got 3 doors assigned to it, and also furthermore it's able to show you how many people have been assigned to this. So if we click on it, we can actually see that we've got the 3 doors that we're talking about: a front door, new entry door, and sales door. The door 1 test has not been added to it. If you want to update that access level, simply by clicking on the door that's not added to it and then clicking on the arrow to move it over into the permitted box, it will simply add it and can be updated for it. Exit out of that. If you want to create a new access level, again, it's very simple. You can go to the add new access level option, create the TDSI test, for example, and then you can add the doors that you want to be added onto that access permission, that access level. Select it, and it's all added onto it. Exit that. If you've got an existing system, an existing installation, and you've gone back to site to do an update and you've added an extra door onto the system, particularly on a big site, you'll want to add that door to certain access levels. What you can do is if you click on the assigned door, you can select the front door that you've added today, and then you can select the access levels that it currently isn't in at the moment, so that that permission is added, that door is added onto those access levels. So it just speeds up that process and ties it all together to make it very, very quick and easy to maintain and update the system with any system changes and site-wide changes. looking at a new feature that we've added recently into GARDiS 2 software is the lockdown doors. So lockdown doors enables you to select the doors here within the software, the doors that you want to be focusing on. So we've got the front door and we've got the sales door that have been selected, and we've got it enabled so that those two doors can be automatically locked down. Now, you can set a lockdown to occur with either an input from a controller, so a button within the building that can be placed, or you can have it as a software-driven functionality. So within the software, you can have it so that it's a quick and easy button to navigate to. By pressing that, you can see that two doors will automatically be locked down within that process. And that stops all functionality through those doors. So that will stop the reader operating, but equally that will stop the egress button working as well to permit exiting out of an area. Also, we have fire doors. This is, again, a very similar feature to lockdown. However, it's now working in reverse. So when an action is carried out, when an event occurs, a button is pressed, a fire exit button is pressed, the front door, for example, will automatically release during a fire input. Moving down, schedules. Schedules, again, are very, very easy to set up and configure. A schedule is time windows that you want functionality to happen. We can see here that we've created a couple of sample ones for the purposes of today. So we've got a general one, a 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if we go into it, we can see that it's set for Monday to Sunday, and it's midnight to midnight. So that means that anything that's applied to that will be applied to those times. You've also got other types of schedules that you can create within the system. So let's go to add a new schedule. TDSI test. I already noticed that we got a TDSI test already, so we'll call it TDSI test 2. We can add a period to it. So it starts on Monday, and we can now set what time do we want it to start. So we can say at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we can set it so that it automatically stops at 6 o'clock. And if you want to be to the minute, you can do it to 16:10. Once you're happy with that, you can then say, right, I want to copy this day. So you can select what day you're copying, and then you can apply it to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Leave Friday if you wish. Confirm that. That's your new schedule that you've created. That can then be applied to a member of staff, a group of member staffs, so that access permission will only allow them into the building during those times. Moving down, we have also got reports. So we've got a list of reports that are already available within the software. So you can select a report that, for example, these are already available. You can use a door usage report. And you can create a custom door usage report. And again, you've got a very quick and easy method to navigate through the software from doors that you're selecting. So doors, we can select the time that we want to be focusing on. So do you want to do it on the last 24 hours, the last 7 days, or a specific period? If you're selecting a specific period, you're then able to navigate back through which period that you want to be starting from and when do you want it to be ending for. Click on next, and that's that report created. Helps if I give it a name. There we go. And to run that report, it'll automatically open it in the front tab onto a new tab screen within the software. And you have all the usual and typical options to actually extract that report. So you can print that report, you can save the information as a CSV, or alternatively, you can save that report as a PDF and use it as a controlled document. Okay, so that's me showing you a quick walkthrough of the new GARDiS software. That's about 20 minutes of just showing you some of the common features of how it looks, how it operates. There's obviously a lot more functionality that we can talk around at later dates, or if there's something specific, we can certainly spend some time and put a presentation together on those specific features for anybody at a later date. Thank you ever so much. I'm Alex Rumsey. I'm going to pass over to Tina now, who's going to navigate through some of the APIs that we've got available.
So, hi everyone. Right, I'm going to share my desktop because then it allows you to see all the various elements. Are you able to see the desktop okay? Right, so the first thing I'd like to show you is for the SDK itself. When you do request the SDK, you get provided with the SDK kit, which you get the full documentation for the SDK. When you open that, it would give you the API reference guide. This gives you all the information you need, all the details for the different functionality. And we have also, from the introduction, you can see we've embedded Swagger into the REST API itself. So it allows you to interact with the REST API without doing any coding whatsoever. So before we get to that point, I'd just like to highlight it is a license option. So you would require to, as you can see, this is remoted into the GARDiS server itself. You've got a separate application so you can see your individual license, and as you can see, I've added the development license. So if I minimize that. Right, so if we go back to here, so you can see the reference, and then if I go here at the top, we've got this built into the REST API. So it gives you, again, all the functions, and you can select a function. So if I go to the door area, I could use the API to get a list of the door. It shows you what kind of information you can get. And when you try it out, it will give you a list of all the doors in the system. You've got things like, basically all the different areas within the software itself. It's nicely divided, so you can very easily test it out. So if I do try it out, it returns with all the users in a JSON format. So, and here it gives you an idea of the parameters.
It looks like we're all back online, so sorry about that.
Hi everyone.
No
Sorry.
problem. I was just about to advance things. Okay, thank you everyone for your patience, and I shall bow out and shut up and let Tina carry on. So.
Okay, well, there's not much more to go through. It was just really going through the SDK kit and all the things we have with it. So we've got documentation, we have SDK samples. So if I share the desktop again. So yes, so with the SDK kit, we do try and provide as much information as possible to make it a streamlined process for any integrators that wish to integrate with GARDiS. So we provide an example project with even a running executable. So here you could see I've entered the URL of the running GARDiS system that Alex was demonstrating, the login details, a client ID, and the client secret. So if we log in, you can see I could get the doors from the system, and if I bring up make sure that's all up and running, what we should be able to see is that I could set the door to barred. I start live events. at least you could see if I set it back to controlled access, I could set the door state to unlocked, and if I refresh the states, the network may have damaged all the connection, I'm afraid. So we can see, we should be able to set the door state, and you can see it's set it to unlocked, and I could set it back to controlled access, and this is all using the API directly rather than through the software. And that is everything to do with the REST API. It is really that simple. And just to wrap up for the GARDiS system, you can get all the information for the GARDiS software through the TDSI website, which we will send a link. And this has help guides and walkthroughs, video libraries, installation guides, data sheets, and just some key information. So if I stop sharing, was there any questions? No? Okay, I'll hand it back to John.
Thank you very much for that, Tina. And I'm just going to get into the last couple of slides of my overview presentation for today. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, what is the major difference between XGuard and the GARDiS?
Okay, the major difference between the XGuard Pro software and the GARDiS software is the XGuard Pro software is a client-server based architecture. So you can deploy it on virtual servers. It could be deployed in the cloud that way, should you so desire. The GARDiS platform is a native web-based application, so it runs as a service. So the GARDiS platform, for example, has been designed from the ground up as it's a native web-based application. It's also designed for deployment as a cloud-based service. So this is something that we're going to be launching in the future. And that, for example, is one of the reasons why we have licenses for different organizations. So we could have resellers who want to set up their own cloud and actually manage organizations on behalf of customers. That's the major difference. Also, one of the big differences is all the integration capabilities that we're putting into the GARDiS platform. All those integrations again run as a separate service. So we've redesigned the complete software. So the GARDiS is a brand new platform. We're not using any of the old XGuard code structure. And the architecture of the GARDiS software makes it so much easier for us to add new integrations. So we run an agile process within our development team. So all the work is split up into 3-week sprints. So our ability to add new integrations and new services on the GARDiS platform is a lot better than it was on the XGuard side of things. So as an example of that, we're just talking today about the fire door release, the site lockdown. One of the things that Alex ran through there was the door usage report. Well, we've actually sort of done a variation on the theme there. And there is a track and trace application you can download for both GARDiS and for XGARD, where you can actually run a report on the system and say, okay, I want to find out everyone who's gone through a particular door or everyone who's been in a particular area within a certain time frame of someone who has made themselves known to their organization that they are a suspected carrier of the coronavirus. So you can actually run a list of who else may have been in contact with that person and inform those people that you've been in an area where you've been potentially exposed to the virus. We suggest that you go and get yourself tested and isolate, what have you. So the whole GARDiS software architecture gives us an awful lot more flexibility to do a lot more as a native web-based service, and to provide new features in a much faster rollout. So, for example, next month we're going to be talking about the GARDiS web embedded server controller, the enterprise version. So our existing controllers, they're good for 5,000 users, 15,000 events. The enterprise controller, which we actually launched last week, we shipped our first units out to Southeast Asia last week. They're up to 100,000 users within the controller. And also next month we're going to be talking about our new Bluetooth low energy readers. So this is starting to use the good old smartphone to open doors, whether that's using the phone as a card or keeping the phone in your pocket and waving your hand across the reader. There's all sorts of variations on the theme there. So we're going to be launching our GARDiS Bluetooth low energy readers in September. In October, more software related, we're going to be looking at a new area occupancy display and thresholds. This is a big thing that we're being asked to do by many customers with respect to monitoring the number of people within buildings and within shopping malls, etc., to ensure social distancing. So it's very much a COVID-related feature that we're putting into GARDiS. And also in October, we'll be adding lift control functionality. So on the GARDiS controller, with the web embedded software on that controller, you can do lift control within that controller for up to 40 odd floors. Lift control within the GARDiS software environment, we're going to be able to do an awful lot more doors. So those are the things that are coming up over the next couple of months. As I said at the outset, we're very much open and wanting to make sure that we're talking to you about technologies and giving you information to help you engineer solutions for problems that you're dealing with your customers. So please don't feel shy about throwing in questions or ideas or things that you want us to talk about. And you could do that, if I may, through just emailing marketing@tdsi.co.uk. As
John?
Tina said at the end of her presentation, there's a full help guides and walkthroughs available on our website on the GARDiS software, and all the links are available there. I did think that was there a question that someone had just then I talked over. So, Johan, GARDiS allows activation of several card formats on the reader and pockets, for example, MG2. How many card how many card formats does it allow simultaneously? Okay, so by that, do you mean how many card formats can we teach a controller to work on? So basically, if we set up a controller to read, say, an HID Corporate 1000 or an HID OSDP reader or a STID OSDP reader, that's how we've set that that controller up to read that particular card format. You can't read different formats at the same time. But if you're using our dual technology readers, for example, which are either Prox and MyFair, or MyFair Classic and MyFair DesFire, those readers will allow the controller to read those different formats. Does that answer your question, Johan?
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hello. Yep.
Yeah, this any upgradation is possible from XGRADE to GARDiS?
From XGARD to GARDiS, yes.
So if I'm using the XGRADE, how I can upgrade it? Any cost implication? Something is there, or if I am in under this one service period.
Okay, so basically, if you're upgrading from an old XGARD system to a GARDiS system, there is a software upgrade fee that has to be paid, because basically we'd need to sort of translate the XGARD database into the GARDiS environment. So that's something that's chargeable.
Okay. So it's a database is SQL, right?
SQL database, yes, both for XGARD and for GARDiS. It's a native Microsoft SQL database.
Okay. So in this GARDiS, that what is the add-on modules is available in the GARDiS? I mean, the time and attendance, visitor management, guard tour, that features are impossible in GARDiS.
Okay,
I mean,
those features currently exist within XGARD, and over the next sort of 12 to 14, 16 months, those features will be ported over to the GARDiS environment, so that within 14, 16 months, everything that you're doing within the XGARD environment will be possible within the GARDiS environment and more. So any new integrations that we're doing, we're not doing in the XGARD environment. We're just doing it in the GARDiS environment.
okay, fine.
Okay.
I just want to know regarding this GARDiS shall be fitting for a hotel environment, for a back of house. Have you done any integration with WinGuard or with Salto, something like that, front of house gust room lock systems?
Within the GARDiS environment, no, but the REST API is available for people to use to do those integrations. That's not an issue. So yeah, when you're actually deploying GARDiS with the REST API, as Tina said, it's a licensable option, but you don't actually pay to use the REST API. So if you're working on a project and there's a front of house piece of software, if you've got software developers who want to write that driver, they can license the REST API from TDSI, or equally, if you want TDSI to write the driver, we can be looking at the SDK from the front of house system, for example, and give you a price on how much it would cost to develop the driver for you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Incorsal. Any more questions? Okay.
One more thing. You have mentioned that lift control, you will be putting it in GARDiS on month of September, something you have shown on before, right?
Tina and her team are busily writing the air occupancy system and the lift control for GARDiS at the moment, and those will be released in October, as we said. So in about 8 weeks.
You will be slowly phasing out the old the existing system, the software.
The XGuard software, yes, we will be slowly phasing that out. As I've said, any new developments, so for example, within the VitaProtect group, we have our own facial detection and temperature threshold measurement reader. That's going to be put into the GARDiS software, not into XGuard. We're working with one of our resellers in Southeast Asia at the moment to incorporate the sense time facial detection system. That will be done in the GARDiS environment, not in the XGuard environment. So the intention and the plan is that by the end of next year or shortly thereafter, all the integration capabilities that are within XGuard will be in the GARDiS environment and more. And customers will be encouraged to be using the GARDiS software on new projects, and there will be an upgrade path for existing XGuard sites to go over to GARDiS. We'll be continuing to support the XGuard software for a good few years. We're not just going to come to the end of next year or the middle of 2022 and say, right, okay, XGuard's dead, we're not going to support it anymore. TDSI has never done that as a business.
So your advice, if we have any new projects in 2020, what's your advice?
Precisely, and then, but then, if I would advise, if you're looking, say for example, you've got a project and you want to do, you're using Milestone and you want integration with Milestone. Well, that doesn't exist on the GARDiS platform yet, and that won't happen until sometime in 2021. So if your project is going to be for fruition and installation in 2020, then you're better off using the XGuard platform, because that does have integration to Milestone, for example, and then maybe at a later date move from XGuard to GARDiS. But if you've got a project and it's just lift control, wireless locks, and more basic access control functionality, then GARDiS is the way to go. Or again, if you're looking at wanting to use GARDiS and you're wanting us to write a driver for integration, or you want to use the REST API for yourselves to write a driver to integrate into other systems, that's an option also.
Thank you.
No problem. My pleasure. I love these questions. Any more questions? No. Well, okay. Well, it just leaves me to say thank you from Alex and Tina and John and Russell.
One more last question. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, carry on.
The controller prices will remain same, except GARDiS license will be a new prices.
Yes.
Price in your price tags.
Yeah, we are not raising the microguard cost prices or what. The only time we ever do that is if there's been an increase in component cost, but we're only talking about sort of a couple of a percent that we do at the beginning of each year. But no, the GARDiS software, whether it works with microguard, whether it works with GARDiS controller, or whether it works with EX, we're not increasing the price of the older controllers to work with the GARDiS software. No, we're not.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Okay, so right. So it leaves me just to say thank you again. Thank you for your time and participation this morning. And I reiterate for the third time, we are open to any ideas of things you want us to talk about, projects that you're dealing with, technologies that you want to know about. So if you want to talk about more about facial detection or contactless biometrics, just let us know. We're here to impart knowledge and our expertise to you all to help you in your day-to-day business and to help you win projects for us all. So thank you all for your participation this morning, and hope to see you again in a month. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.